position. We're going to get into the draft here, and I was about to talk about the Nidalee. The Nidalee is something that we've seen Harrow play a bunch already. It's not something I would be expecting out of Rogue Warriors with the way that they've been playing the game. So with Rogue Warriors, look for them picking things like the Zoe. The Twisted Fate has now been banned, but they've generally been trying to build around these pick compositions. So great tempo junglers like Nidalee, Twisted Fate, the mid laner, that can find these picks and build tempo plays. These are good bans from eStar, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think, you know, for Rogue Warriors, for eStar, losing something like the Nidalee isn't really big on their priority list. We looked at, you know, if you look at Hacker's champion pool, it's not something that he really kind of leans towards. Not something he leans towards, and AP junglers just aren't really his forte.
Yeah, I was having a look at Hacker's stats earlier on today, and the biggest takeaway for me was when you look at his top 4 played ever, it's like Lee Sin is number 1. Obviously, he's a jungler in the LPL, right? Then it's Trundle, Olaf, Sejuani. This guy likes the junglers that are at least fringe meta right now, like Sejuani we've seen a little bit. We've not seen Trundle, but Lee and Olaf are there. Graves is in his top 5 as well. So, like, he's quite happy in the current pool, but he doesn't play things like Nidalee. He doesn't play things like Lilia. He's played 3 games of Taliyah ever, and the KDA and the win rate aren't great. So it feels like he's very much leaning towards, you know, things like the Graves if they can get it on rotation.
Yeah, well, with no AD carries banned, that is going to be an first round pickup for Rogue Warriors. They pick whichever one they are 100% comfortable for. Michi, I kind of like that. Give the new guy something he's, you know, safe on, or something they feel like he can play 100%. And as well as that, Kai'Sa very, very strong in the meta right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Kai'Sa just incredibly strong. Bear in mind, this guy trained under iBoy, so you know that he's probably played a lot of Kai'Sa across his years. I mean, we're extrapolating somewhat there, but Rat on the other side, going to pick up the Xayah. He's already played this twice. This is clearly a big comfort pick for Rat, and feels like in those team fights, he can be a lot safer. Go for something that's like a scaling AD carry. You don't have to be the flashiest player in the world. You could just be consistent DPS for the team. Now, over to the side of Rogue Warriors, I'm curious what they go for here. I'd love to see them just pick up the Graves. I'm a bit surprised to see Gnar locked in so early. Decided to go for a blind top laner in the first. It looks like they're in fact not even going to go for their jungle here, and instead go for the Galio.
Yeah.
I would assume this is going support.
This is an interesting kind of setup as well. Of course, the Galio can flex between support and mid lane. It can, you know, go a couple of different positions, but as I said, we have seen it more so in support than in the mid. But overall, you're kind of leaving yourself open to a lot of kind of, you know, counter bans to keep, you know, Harrow down. And we talked about how this guy was almost the catalyst for this team, the guy who makes the plays, who sets up those, you know, crazy chaos engages and keeps the team, you know, from going absolutely hard inting to keeping them within the fight. And right now, I feel like his champion pool is going to be a little pinched.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The other option as well is trying to ban Forge out even further, because you would assume that this Galio will be the support pick. We've not really seen that much Galio in the mid lane. It's still possible that it is Galio mid. Like we said, likes things like the Twisted Fate, Galio in a similar wheelhouse when it comes to playing around those picks. It is going to be the Graves band away that we talked about as a strong pick for Harrow. On the other side, though, when we look at the composition that eStars have brought out for themselves, still need a support for themselves, still need a top laner as well. And you can see Rogue Warriors immediately start to ban these top laners away. And actually, when you look at the pool of like blind top laners here, you've got Ornn's already taken off, Renekton's taken off, Gnar's been locked in. So on the side of eStar, they can quite happily just pick up a top laner here that they feel comfortable with and just move forward. Kennen would be available, which is something ZS has played a bunch already. But we'll have to see what they go for.
Yeah, played a couple of games on the Kennen, didn't have the greatest of success on that particular pick, but nonetheless it's still something within ZS's wheelhouse. Is hovering towards the Irelia and the Jace. Jace is going to be locked in, so going for a lot more power in the laning phases of, you know, eStar, rather than waiting for that kind of, you know, team fight later.
Yeah, this is exciting though, because it's something that it's a different style to what we've seen from him so far this season. So I'm excited to see ZS on something with a little bit more I guess carry potential in the 1v1, the ability to split push a little bit, get some side lane pressure, and maybe have some threat on towards Ziv. We'll see whether that's going to come into fruition. Chocho going to go with the Leona, very you know, standard pick right now, incredibly strong support. It does mean that Forge is going to be taking the Galio towards the mid lane. And now Harrow has to decide what to go for. And he's looking towards this Hecarim, which is something we've not really been seeing recently. But there are a lot of jungle bans, so maybe just deciding to push it out a little bit. I have to say, this is a bit of a strange composition out from Rogue Warriors comparatively to what I was expecting. I was expecting them to play more around pick, but this does feel more of like a huge teamfight engage comp, right? Where you get Chocho and Harrow just charging into the fight. Forge can follow up. You've got Gnarl in there, and then it's down to Michi to try and sweep up.
Yeah, I feel like this is a hard engage with the Hecarim. Like you said, go in with the Galio ult and Mega Gnar and try and just keep the Kai'Sa alive. It's a pretty decent composition if you can make it work. Whereas on the other side, if you're looking at the side of eStar, I feel like this is, you know, just jump in with the Pantheon, try to find one person isolated, pick them off as quick as you possibly can, and then try and get, you know, the outnumbered team fight after that.
Yeah, you're incredibly good at if the fight doesn't kick off quickly. I feel like eStar are going to be in a good position at that point where you've got Jace throwing poke out, you've got Orianna there as well. You're incredibly good at kiting away from the opponent. So we kind of have two quite opposite compositions coming in here. Now, I'm curious to see whether these two teams are going to play out these compositions in the way that you would expect. I'm curious how especially ZS is going to do on this Jace, whether he's going to be able to find himself an advantage during the lane phase, and whether or not Hacker is going to be proactive getting up into that lane, because Hacker's definitely a player that when you think about how Hacker likes to play, when I think of OMG, I think of Hacker being very proactive and getting those ganks off. He's on the Pantheon, so it's very possible that he can get players like Irma and ZS ahead.
We'll have to wait and see. And an interesting kind of comparison between the LPL and the LCK. LCK, Gnar at 1 and 5, not really liked if you've watched LS's Twitter. Definitely feels like he is the Renekton of this year. Whereas in the LPL, he's 8-0. He is the pick right now, and it's just, I always love seeing the different reads on the meta from different regions. So it's so much fun to look into, especially as the season goes on in such massive leagues. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to the Rift for Rogue Warriors versus eStar. We'll see exactly how both these teams fare up.
And let's just... And let's just quickly reiterate what's on the line for these two teams as well, because, you know, Rogue Warriors and eStar, as we said, they've been struggling to make it to playoffs. These are two teams that have potential within the rosters. When you look through these names, like, you got players like Xiaoxi. If you remember at the start of last year, Xiaoxi was incredibly hyped up as one of the... People were willing to say on Twitter that he was one of the best supports in the entire league at the start of spring. Obviously, he's not had as great of a path since then, but you know that there's that potential there. Same for like Harrow and Forge are two players I'm incredibly excited out. I'm also incredibly excited to see what Michi can do, because when we consider this composition, we've just talked about this, the damage threat on this team is Michi. The rest of the team is pretty much playing for engage and playing to peel Michi. So we've got this guy that's an academy AD carry that's been subbed in over players like Betty and Cullen, who was looking good, and now they've built a composition exclusively around making him look good. This, if he has a good game, will be a debut game and a half.
Yeah, I completely agree. He is very much set up for success, and as we said, just with the circumstances that are around it, you'd feel like this guy should be decent enough to be able to make it work, especially considering how much of emphasis the side of Rogue Warriors are putting onto him. And on the other side for eStar, I feel like they're just giving their solo lanes, you know, the agency that they need to be successful as well. Like, you're looking towards a Pantheon jungle, which can help out a Jace and Orianna both with very, very good setup tools, very good, you know, damage in the early game as well. Against the likes of like a Galio and a Gnar, who historically and traditionally don't really have that, you know, upfront burst that you expect in the early game.
Yeah, you've definitely got a huge amount of CC on the top half of the map from Rogue Warriors, so whether or not we see Harrow focusing on the top half, honestly, I feel like if Harrow is going to start fights this game, you'd hope that they're going to focus around Dragon and around the bottom half of the map, because as we mentioned, Michi definitely going to be their primary carry this game, so it would be nice to get him ahead. But also, when you have things like a Galio in the mid lane, it's reasonably easy to just shove out that mid lane wave and move out move out of the lane, get elsewhere on the map. When you got Hecarim that will be hitting level 6 by the time the dragon's coming up, you have a huge amount of team fight pressure there. So I'm hoping we get to see Rogue Warriors trying to force the plays around these dragons and maybe then rotate up towards Herald and see if they can transfer that elsewhere.
Well, jungler is going to find each other now, but Harrow is level 4 compared to level 3 of Hacker. You can see that he took that extra camp, giving him the extra little bit of levels, but Ziv is here first. Hacker taking a huge chunk of damage down on top of me. Smites gets the Scuttle as well to keep himself safe and flashes away. So loses a summoner, gains a Scuttle Crab. Don't know if that's worth, buddy.
I'd say that's worth it, honestly. Harrow used his Ghost as well. It's Hacker now finding himself that extra level off of the Scuttle Crab. Bear in mind, the bottom Scuttle Crab is still available, and you see Hacker moving his way straight over there. Forge just TP'd in the mid lane, and I think this might just be so that they can try and contest on this bottom Scuttle Crab. However, bot lane priority very much in favor of eStar right now.
Yeah, Harrow gonna walk in here. They know Hacker is here as well, as there is a ward on top of him. So both junglers very aware of the other one's presence. Very difficult, though, for Hacker to make anything really happen here, especially when Forge is the first one to roam down. So he's gonna have to give this one up. Yep. And like you said, Rogue Warriors, they are 100% okay with fighting over anything and nothing as well. And we can see that starting out. We can see Hacker just roaming towards this bot side, making sure that Chocho doesn't have any funny ideas.
Yeah, this was definitely the correct decision from Rogue Warriors, though. I don't want to give the impression that this was just trying to force a fight for the sake of forcing a fight. Bear in mind, Forge had reset already, bought a Dark Seal, bought some boots, and then teleported back to the lane. So he was full mana, full everything, could just shove that mid wave in, whereas Irma hadn't recalled yet. So Irma was basically out of mana. At that point, you know that you're probably going to be able to win the Scuttle fight. You know that Xayah's not exactly a massive threat at this stage in the game anyway, so realistically, if the bot lanes get involved and you've got Halo Blades Kai'Sa and a Leona versus their level 3 Xayah, I'm going to take that fight if I'm Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as we hit the 5-minute mark. A couple of small little things being picked up across the board. I like Orianna's items. She's got full items technically, but they're all literally just kind of, you know, sustain on all different fronts. One gives you AP, one gives you mana, one gives you speed, one gives you health. It's just a lot of different things there. I don't know. I find that quite satisfying, despite having zero to, you know, no influence in the game.
Yeah, we've not any kills just yet, but you know,
this is hard for two play-by-plays. This is hard, okay? I was hoping that we would get chaos, and you would just be tossing it to and fro, and like it'd be great.
We're doing all right. I feel like we're doing all right so far. I feel like I've hit some win conditions.
But it's hard.
Hey, and look, Forge has gone for the early Boots of Lucidity as well, which obviously he's Predator Galio, so you can expect that he's going to be roaming a ton. But also with the upgrade that Boots of Lucidity got recently in the patch, gaining an extra bit of spell haste. Hang on, we've got Forge moving up towards topside. Harrow's there as well. Looks
Level
like
6
they've decided
is there.
against the play.
Yeah, they had level 6s available pretty much for everyone on that top side, but ZS definitely feeling the pressure, realizing that he did not have full vision of everybody, backs himself away, but for Forge, should be easy enough to keep him wave clearing, keep this Orianna locked underneath her turret, or at least in the lane, and that opens him up to just, you know, create plays with those globals that they have.
Well, the first dragon is on the map, and Hacker wants to find a window to go for that. He's in the bot lane right now, but a lot of respect coming out from the bot lane of Rogue Warriors as Chocho just going to try and zone them away. I don't think Hacker can actually just start this Drake. He's just going to be able to do the Scuttle Crab. Harrow's going to arrive just a second too late and notice that that's happening. What is he doing?
I think
he's not been spotted just yet.
He's not been spotted.
So
he's trying to see if he can catch someone out. There he is. Now he's been spotted. They know he's there now. Level 6 should be hit here by Hacker. Yep, just takes the Gromp and gets that one there. Trying to invade on that blue buff as well. Hacker, though,
everyone's coming in for this one.
Uh-oh. This is a fight over a small objective. It could be a 4v4 very, very soon as well if the Galio decides to jump in. They are going to jump straight on top of Chocho, and that is first blood before he can do anything. Grand Entrance is there. Can they make anything else happen? They have to use the Onslaught of Shadows. Hacker does fall, does not have his W up anymore, so just takes a huge amount of damage. Shousey jumps in and gets on top of Harrow and the rest of them. It's a 2-for-2 trade overall as Michi and Forge head for the hills. There's not a huge amount of mana on Irma or on Rat. Cleanse has been used. Michi has to flash away, and that ends up being 2-for-2 over a blue buff.
I have to say, Rogue Warriors, I feel like needed to maybe cut their losses when Jojo just died immediately and Forge went in. They were like, oh, okay, well, we've committed now, boys, and just go so deep for that one. Irma managed to pick up 2 kills off the back of that. He's got 4 Dark Seal stacks as well now. This is a really, really good spot for eStar because they also managed to defend that blue buff. Rogue Warriors didn't get anything off the back of it. However, we could have more action because Hacker is here. There's mid prio for the side of eStar. The only problem is Rat is just leaving the base.
They have the ultimate on Shousey as well. This could be another 5v4 or 4v4 fight coming in as Zib has got Meganar sitting nicely on himself, so I don't know if eStar really want to go for this right now. They are angling quite aggressively. Shousey just pushing away the Hecarim off of the Rift Herald. As we can see, it's a fight on 2 fronts. Hacker's the first one to fall. The Rift Herald goes down. I'm not quite sure exactly who took it. I believe it was Rogue Warriors, and now the real fight is starting off in here as we go in. It's actually Oriana, the Irma, coming in. Double kill. Rat flashes forward, gets the root, trying to lock them all down. eStars are running, they're chasing, and they're going to be able to pick up 4 kills. Very, very nicely done. Actually, 5 kills, excuse me, overall for eStar.
This was really impressive from eStar, honestly. I believe they got their Herald as well, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
No,
it was in fact Harrow that got it, yeah. So, kind of a bizarre one. I was expecting eStar to get destroyed there, honestly, when you consider that Rat was very late to the party. You didn't have... It was ZS that was late to the party as well. They started 3v4 when you look at this, and you've got Meganar that comes in. They get the pick right at the very start. But Forge doesn't have his ultimate available, so Galio is essentially a large minion at this point in the fight. Everything's already been used, and then everyone just collapses from multiple sides, and it's nothing to do with CC at this point. They've got enough of that with Shousey. It's just down to pure damage from the numbers.
We highlighted Irma before this series started. He is now 5-0-1 on this Oriana. Has been just perfectly positioned in all these fights. And that's what we said. He's not the flashiest. He's not going to be, doing rookies levels of outplays. But he's going to be the one to position himself perfectly for team fights and get his team the advantages they need. And that's exactly what he's done so far. Arrow needs to be careful, though, because this, like I said, Irma is huge. He can't just walk over and try, claim mid lane priority.
This is phenomenal for eStar. Like, this lead would already be phenomenal regardless, but the fact that Irma got a double kill in the first fight, then got a triple kill in the following fight, like, he's about to finish off his Ludens already. We're only 11 minutes into the game. Hacker's now being forced out towards the top side. He's here to try and defend this. Bear in mind, Harrow does have that Rift Herald if they want to try and force a dive, but with Hacker here, you'd expect they have to back away.
Feel it, but they're not taking your advice just yet. The wave is being cleared rather rapidly. They are going to drop down the Rift Herald, though, on the wrong side of the wall. I imagine they wanted it to go on the other side, but it didn't quite happen for them. And while that's happening, you know that 3 people are top, so it's going to be a straight-up 2v2. Solar Flare goes down from Chocho. He is ignited as well, has to flash. Did not need to get rooted down there, so Michi just keeps putting down the auto attacks. And overall, still a favorable trade for eStar, even if the health bars look a little bit skewy.
Yeah, the Herald got its charge off, but realistically there was no follow-up there. However, Harrow's sticking around. It's possible that they just 2v1 dive this. Ziv is about to turn into Meganar.
Have Meganar soon. They have the Grand Entrance coming in as well. Grand Skyfall is available for eStar if they want to use it, but it looks like they're just going to try and condemn ZS to his death as he does end up going down. You had to commit so much time to that, though, on the side of Rogue Warriors. There's a lot invested, so you got to make this worth.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors really wanted that kill. They really wanted to make that play. They went up with their Herald, they realized eStar had an answer, so they back away, and then they just come back and do it again. In the meantime, Hacker's gone down to the bottom side. They're trading a dragon for the first tower of the game. I would say, like, all things considered, this probably favors Rogue Warriors just in terms of gold difference. But when we looked at the competitions earlier, we were saying that Rogue Warriors probably want to group up, probably want to be fighting over these dragons, so not being able to stack them up in the early game could be an issue for them. And now they essentially have to forego the next couple of dragons, I'd say, because that Leandri's already in the pocket of Irma. Rat's just picked up a Kraken Slayer as well. This is an incredibly strong version of eStar right now.
Yeah, I got to admit, this is a little scary if you're looking at Rogue Warriors, but luckily for them, there is no global objective really for them to get caught at. We're still very, very early on in the game. There's no Rift Herald, there's no Dragons, so they're going to have time to be able to finish up their own items. As you can see here, the Triforce being picked up here by the Hecarim, so massive power spike for him. And by the time the next fight kicks off, we should see Michi pick up their either Gale Force or Kraken Slayer as well.
So Harrow going to be... along the bottom side of the map right now. I feel like Harrow's getting a little bit antsy. I feel like he wants to try and make some plays. You can see him moving behind this mid lane tower. Does have the Onslaught Shadows available. Irma could be in trouble here, Penguin.
This is a slow, methodical move in as they try and just get the flash out of him. Irma gets in. They do not get the shockwave off in time. Grand Skyfall comes in but as well, but for no real gain. Minion dies as well, so he doesn't even get that. Overall, 4 men to kill Irma. I think that's worth 100%.
100% worth. They got the shutdown as well. I love how Hacker slides into the play after it's all done. He's like, what did I miss? I'm here, guys. I'm ready for the party. It's like everyone's already left.
It's literally, it's like that gif of from Parks and Rec. Was it Parks and Rec? I can't remember exactly which one it is, where a guy comes in with a pizza and everyone's on fire, and it's just like,
from Community, yeah.
Community, that's what it's from. I knew it was one of those shows, but yeah, very similar feeling there. And actually, something as we look at the turret plates that go down, something I noticed, actually, the Stride Breaker being picked up here by the Gnar, and I'm curious to know why. Maybe you don't have the full answer, kind of put you on the spot with this one here, but why would you think you would go with that over, say, the traditional, maybe even the Divine Sunderer or a Triforce?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had quite a few Gnar builds coming out. We've seen the Divine Sunderer. We've seen a little bit of Gore Drinker from Gnar as well. This is, honestly, the simple fact of this is just that this is a way to get a really good Gnar ult off in the fights. When you look at the composition, this is all about the team fight for the side of Rogue Warriors. It's all about being able to combo the Galio ult, the Hecarim ult with the Gnar, with the Leona CC. So the Stride Breaker is all about being able to use your hop during the fight, use Stride Breaker for that extra bit of distance to be able to get the perfect ult and try and combo all of these abilities. So it's less about just the pure stats on the item, and it's more about this setup that is going to allow Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, not about exactly the pure numbers, but what it allows you to be able to do if you're good enough to do it, I suppose. But now with Rift Herald up, Dragon up for another 2 minutes. You can see eStar roaming towards this mid lane. They want to see if they can get something. Very difficult to make something happen unless you can land some poke, as we see there with the Shock Blast. Rift Herald has been started by Force. They jump straight on top of Zeta. Oh, the Shockwave whiffs though. They do not get Ziv completely down. He will have Mega very, very soon, so I don't know if you want to fight this right now. As I say that though, Michi gets a chunk, so he can't really engage on this either. They're trying to get the Mega out from Ziv so they do not get completely caught off by surprise, but I feel like Rogue Warrior, without your main AD carry, without the damage source, you kind of have to back away a little bit.
Yeah, eStar should be able to grab this one with Rogue Warriors being forced out of the play here. You have to bear in mind as well that eStar, if Irma is there and still fine, still has mana, it's pretty much a winning fight in that situation just because of how huge he is right now in the game. So you definitely have to respect that from the side of Rogue Warriors. They're going to back away. They grab the Herald for the side of eStar, and Hacker should be able to use that to finally break one of these tier 1s. They've yet to be able to break themselves onto the map. Bear in mind though, Dragon coming up in a minute.
Dragon in a minute, just under it as well. You've got the first items for a lot of your carries. Still waiting on a first item for Michi on this Kai'Sa though, so waiting for that one is gonna feel a little sad for the side of Rogue Warriors, but they should have enough in the bank with Harrow and Ziv to be able to burst down anyone they like. Irma has picked himself up a blue, so he should not need to reset. Should be able to regen as much as he possibly can. And this is kind of, honestly, Rogue Warriors here are first to the party. They're the ones who have set up. They're the ones that have the vision control as of right now. And I feel like it's going to be a little difficult for the side of eStar just to walk into them.
Yeah, it's difficult to walk in, but realistically, eStar, if they can, they would love to. The goal of this competition is to try and set up in advance or get a pick for themselves, with Hacker just flying in and Shousy trying to follow up on the back of that, Irma being able to follow up with the Shockwave. But if they can kite back during a fight, that's where this competition is really going to be in its own. When you look at the 3 carries, that's where eStar really find their strength. Using the Herald in the mid lane here to grab priority, but bear in mind, Rogue Warriors already in position on this and immediately engage.
Solar Flare does go down onto eStar. They use it as a grand entrance as well, but Chocho taking solo and taken down. Actually, Hacker up by himself on the backside, and he will be first, second to follow. They are trading just kill for kill for kill. It's a 2 for 2 overall in fairness to both teams as eStar just try and kite themselves away. Harrow did not get the onslaught of shadows he needed. He only got onto one person, and they're able to reset this fight, but it is the health bars in favor of eStar.
Yeah, so a fairly even fight. Does, I would say, in terms of positioning, it looked like it was going to go the way of eStar, but then damage coming out from Michi during the fight, actually quite impressive. His positioning was good and was able to just burn through the health bars. So nicely done here by the side of Rogue Warriors to, when you, like, let's just rewind 5 minutes a second here and remember how devastatingly huge Irma was a couple of minutes ago. Rogue Warriors is still in this, and they're teleporting. They do not want to let this dragon go.
Grand Skyfall is still available, but I don't know if eStar could really fight this right now. Dragon down to about 1000 HP. Yep, it's gone. Shousey going to come in. They're going to try and re-engage. The support dies again. Poor Chow Chow. He's down 0, 4, and 3. Did they keep chasing this one, though? Ziv is very, very close to Meganar. Shockwave whiffs again. That is just unfortunate from eStar. They get a kill, but they lose the dragon, and they have to back themselves away.
You know, we started off the day saying that this was Irma is in the player, not your great aunt. I'm starting to wonder whether that's actually the case, because he got himself a bunch of kills early, and he's just been whiffing in these team fights ever since.
Yeah, but see how this one started is Chocho just kind of getting a great position for the Galio to come in, and it's a fight on 2 fronts where both front lines end up just kind of pushing in a bit too far away from their carries.
Yeah, you can see eStar doing a good job to kite back at the start of the fight, but using pretty much everything on that single target. Like Irma used the shockwave and everything. It would have been nice to save. Like, you pretty much have got that first kill guaranteed, so maybe save some resources for the rest of the fight that inevitably will follow.
And overall, still net win you got to feel for a Rogue Warrior. They get themselves a dragon, so they stop that stacking. We're going to have a Mountain Soul for the Mountain Rift. They delay some more time. ZS onto Ziv. He's just going to be able to clear out some waves. Nothing too crazy. As I say that, might try and just find something a little bit more if he can. But overall, nothing really doing there. And it's again, they've proven time and time again to try and catch Ziv is very difficult for the side of eStar.
Yeah, it's partly just down to Ziv positioning correctly and respecting his opponent. Shousey's gone in though.
Shousey, no one's there with you. Yeah, there's 4 people here on top of you. He has got the Unbreakable Will, so he's going to get caught up in the Solar Flare. But a Shock Blast on the backside means that Hecarim and Leona are dead. Shousey is still alive, and it's 3 kills to none. Double kill to Rat. There's no damage left, and that's everything going over to the side of eStar. Rogue Warriors, why would you go so hard, so fast? And now they might lose Baron.
Oh, that was so sad to watch. Like, Rogue Warriors, I actually like the idea of the engage, but they were not on the same page at all. Each of them going in individually, but never quite at the same time. They almost get the combo off, but Michi wasn't on the same page, so they don't have the damage. Let's just remember, we set this up that Michi is pretty much the exclusive damage threat on the side of Rogue Warriors. eStar, when you're spread out like this is their perfect kind of fight. So really nicely done by Shousey to engage this.
And Shousey just goes, I think he's trying to literally get it so they can get the scuttle. He's getting the scuttle, like that's what they're getting. Great shockwave into Shock Blast though there, combination from Irma and ZS, which meant that, again, like you said, with Michi not really doing any damage, look at him, he's off to the side, I think he's auto-attacked twice, and then he gets rooted and immediately jumped on by Hacker. Just a solid team fight coming out from eStar.
Yeah, so really good response coming out from eStar, and Rogue Warrior is just a little bit disjointed. If it can all happen while Michi's available, has his ult, etc., and can just jump in and try and assassinate people. The fact that Chocho got completely obliterated by Irma and ZS as well makes it very difficult for Michi to operate during the fight. He kind of needs to be, you know, following Chocho, following that Leona that can keep him safe. Shousey needs to be a little careful. He's just trying to get some deep vision. Him and Harrow just agree to clear wards
ships
together.
in the night. Ships in the night. It's like, all right, you take that one, I'll take this one. We go. And they just back themselves away. But again, Amici has not had a terrible game on this Kai'Sa, but I feel like he just really hasn't been able to open up on this backline or even onto the front line of eStar because Rogue Warrior, they've just kind of been going in before he can properly set up.
So when we look across the scoreboard right now, it's very clear to say that eStar are pretty significantly ahead, right? 5,000 gold. And when you look at their items most specifically, we're hitting multi-item spikes across the board here. Irma very close to finishing his 3rd item at this stage, and same can be said for Rat. When you look at this Jace as well from ZS, nearly finished stacking on that Muramana. In fact, it literally just stacks as I speak.
My God. That damage.
That can happen.
Wait. Is that ward not... That ward is just behind... Oh, God.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a rock that sticks out and blocks it. They don't realize. Shoutzy is invincible,
I don't think they care, though. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they care. They're going to be able to find Chocho, who goes down for his 6th death of the game. 5-0-10, by the way, for Rat. He's having a fantastic game on this Xayah. And at 24 minutes, we're going to see the inhibitors cracked open. They might honestly go for the end right now. They've got plenty of time, but still a bit over-ambitious from Hacker.
Yeah, it would have been difficult, especially when Forge has his ultimate. Harrow is just respawning. You've got Ziv that could potentially get a huge Gnarl off, so they don't want to overextend for this one. They're going to be happy. Taking a mid inhib, though, at 24 minutes is still fantastic. Still got Baron 15 seconds, and maybe looking towards the spot tier 2.
Forge is gonna go golden. ZS runs away. He flashes and uses the Broda Belt. Keeps himself alive. The rest of Rogue Warriors are coming in. See if they can find anybody to catch on top of. Oh, shotgun in. Ooh. What are you doing, Michi? And not the play, not the time. TP going to be answered as well. There's a TP on both sides. No. You can see them there. ZS is there, but it's a 5v4, and Galio is not really here. He's going to have to use the ultimate to try and join his teammates to do anything to keep them safe. Shoutzy is playing bodyguard, though, off to the side. He knows that the Galio is going to try something, and this is just Rogue Warriors. We said they like to fight, but sometimes you just got to take your losses and walk away.
Yeah, it was a huge overextension for Rogue Warriors. They are lucky that that didn't go worse than it did. You can see Forge TPing in behind the play. I would have loved to see eStar just turn around and just kill Forge immediately on the teleport. They try to chase it down. Regardless, they're going to grab themselves a dragon off the back of this one. And again, like Mishi, you can see that he's feeling the pressure there with that ult. He wanted to make the game-breaking play. He wanted to turn it around. I don't think he realized how many players from eStar were still on the scene. And he was lucky to get away with it like he did.
Very, very lucky. But they do burn teleports on both sides. You can see flashes are definitely down for the side of Rogue Warriors. They burn Forges and Michis as well. So advantages all around really for eStar. And again, I'm pleasantly surprised with how eStar are looking. This is a team that we said was kind of lacking an identity. A team that we didn't really know how to rate purely because some of the names are good. Some of the names are kind of unknown. And, you know, there is always a chance when you're an LPL player that you just, for some reason, absolutely run it down. And that's just how it is. This is just the league we're in. But it feels like, especially in this game, again, very early on in the season, that we're still coming up with decent answers. They're still coming up with, you know, comps that work for them and an identity that's, you know, says that we are here to potentially, you know, to make an upset here or there.
Well, I will say that Rogue Warriors, you know that their logo has a Chinese symbol on it. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it roughly translated, it means like hero, or it means like vigilante, basically, like a Robin Hood kind of character. And at this point in the game, to get a win for themselves, they are going to need to be the Prince of Thieves like Robin Hood and just completely steal this one away. They need eStar to throw this one in the bin because 8,000 gold now ahead for eStar. Their composition is well and truly online. You got 3 items on both Irma and Rat at this stage, and ZS as well on top of that. ZS has been playing amazing on this Jace. It's so difficult for Rogue Warriors to find this engage that they want to, and eStar, they're playing this composition that wants you to come into them. They want to be able to kite back, so it feels like with this kind of gold deficit, Rogue Warriors, they need to try and find some kind of pick. They need someone from eStar to just stand in completely the wrong place. And Baron's up in 10 seconds.
Oh, well, I don't think they're going to get time to get that Baron in 10 seconds. They're going to go straight onto Haro, who has to use the Onslaught of Shadows defensively. Grand entrance and a fantastic Gnar from Ziv, but Forge is dead. They're slapping them with their wallets. We got excited, but we shouldn't have, because this gold lead is just too damn big. As you said, 8,000, now up to 9. Super Minions in the mid lane. They're going to go for the end. This should be first game going to eStar.
Look, that was a beautiful ult from Ziv, and it gave Michi so much room to just get his feather out and tickle the chin of Xiaoxi as he just like tries to throw these auto attacks out. It was not enough damage on this side of Rogue Warriors. eStar, that was beautiful.
Yeah, clean, crisp. Again, very, very scrappy early game, but when you're scrappy in the early game and you just keep losing fight after fight, Rogue Warriors have no answers to the sheer money that you have in your back pocket to just slap them back.
And let's not beat around the bush here. When you look at